All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to Note Night in America. Glad to have each and every one of you joining me here this Monday evening as we discuss marketing in the 21st century. As always, Scott Carson, your host. Excited to be here with you tonight. We're going to change things up a little different introduction. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for being here. I know it's the Monday after Thanksgiving. People are having turkey hangover, or leftover hangovers. Basically, like, oh, I don't know about you guys, but when you have a long week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, coming back on Monday, sometimes is a little bit of a drag, especially when enjoying it with family and friends and football and a lot of other cases out there. So, but honored to have you guys join me here on Note Night in America. For each and every one of you that's watching this, whether you're joining us live here or you're catching the replay, hey, thank you so much for being a part of Note Night in America. This marks the one of three final Note Night in Americas for 2020. Yes, the year is almost done, ladies and gentlemen. We will have two Note Night in Americas, one next week and one the following week, and then we'll be done for the year. I think the third one we'll do is basically an online networking and kind of hate to say it, a Note Night in America Christmas party. Ho, 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 everybody. But anyway, you're here for us to talk about marketing in the 21st century, and I want to dive into that. Now, recently I was blessed to I was asked to speak at a hedge fund symposium just in the last few weeks about marketing and what we do. The host admires what we do for marketing and thought it'd be a great idea for me to come on and talk about what I thought they would do really well at as far as what they need to focus on to raising capital, to doing some big things and launching their fund, raising capital, finding deals in the new year. And I thought it would be a great topic for you guys tonight on Note Night in America. So one of the biggest things I want you to keep in mind when it comes to marketing, okay, this is an important thing, is that marketing, this is really the rule of marketing. All right. Most people don't ever follow up. And when I see real estate investors and note investors start to market, they often give up right out of the gate. They don't have a long-term mentality in mind when it comes to closing. Now, closing, you've heard the Glengarry Glen Ross, always be closing, A, B, C. I love that movie, great movie. But it talks about how you have to follow up in as a marketer, and we're all in sales, we're all in marketing, we're all in media these days. I'll get that a little bit in a second. But if you look at the American Marketing Association talking about how about 50% of people, at least 48% of people never follow up with a prospect. I mean, they get a lead and they never follow up. And I've seen that for decades as a real estate investor. And then so many people take a class, they do a little bit of marketing, and then they never follow up with a prospect. Where they, send out yellow letters or door knockers, or they reach out to banks and leave a voice message and they never follow back up. 48% never follow up. 25% never make a second contact and stop. Okay. 12%, 1 out of 8, only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're going to be raising capital from your warm market or colder market, reaching out to banks, reaching out to your warm market to raise capital or other note investors to find deals, you've really got to follow up. We'll talk about some of the things that I believe are going to be the best follow-up. What you have to realize, too, is that it's a process. It is always a process. It's a touch point. How often can you touch base with somebody in your warm market? It leads to a lot of things. And I always say, if you've got 1,000 people in your database and you figure an average of $1,000 in private capital, some will have some money, others won't have some money, but across the board, that's the minimum we usually see, sometimes more. Only if you send an email blast out, only 2% of your audience, or 2% of the money you're going to raise will actually happen in that first email. You only have about a 20% open rate. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. 80% of the sales, ladies and gentlemen, happen after the 5th to 12th contact, after the 5th contact, okay? And that's the biggest thing about marketing is you've got to be in front of people. I don't know how many of you guys have watched my videos for more than 5 times. Many of you have. You've been following me for 3 months, 6 months, a year, sometimes longer. And some of you aren't, well, okay, signing up for stuff or opting into some things. That's great. But my biggest thing that I learned this from, I call him a marketing genius, is that he shared this with me. You've got to follow up with people and you've got to stay on top of people where they're at, not where they're not. And that's another thing, what's going on right now. You have to realize we're all in a different business. Yes, a lot of us are real estate investors. Yes, note investors. Yes, we're all in that kind of business. But in today's world, in the 21st century, Scotty's here to beam you up, and I'm giving her all she's got for you guys. All right. We're all in the media and marketing business more so than anything else. I don't care what you're doing, what your niche is. If you're reaching out for raising private capital, if you're reaching out for deals, you have to realize in today's world, you have to add that media side of what you're doing. We are all in the media business these days, ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not. That's what we're in. Media and marketing. It's one of the most important things you can keep in mind. And it's going to separate those that do it from those that don't. And if you do embrace this, you will stand out from the audience. You will be, as like a lot of people say, everywhere. And it will actually be one of the easiest things that you can do versus the old way of marketing, the old way of having one conversation and one conversation. The way of marketing in the 21st century is having one conversation with the masses that leads to those one-on-one conversations with prospects, people that want to give you deals, people that want to give you private capital. There's a lot of things that we're going on. So we all know everybody's looking for your eyeballs. It's never more apparent than during the holidays. You think about it, you've got YouTube Live now, Facebook Live, Netflix, Hulu, iHeartRadio, Amazon Prime. My gosh, there's so many video channels out there reaching out for your eyeballs. And as I say, your e-balls in a lot of cases too. And as an investor, when I'm talking with new students, I always ask them, hey, how long have you been a real estate investor? Like, oh, I've been for 10, 15 years. Okay, great. How long are you going to be a real estate investor? And they're like, oh, I'll probably be until the day I die. I'm like, okay. So the thing to keep in mind with that is, all of us are going to be here at least a year, if not longer, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years as real estate investors. Can I get an amen? Can I see some raised hands here on the Zoom call that you're agreeing with me? You're going to be here. You're in it for the long haul. Yeah. Sharon, thank you. Thank you so much for you guys. That's perfect. Thank you for sharing there. Perfect. Henry, Jerry, Stephen, Bill, awesome. Great to see Brian. A lot of people out there tonight. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. Yeah, you're going to be here for a long time. And they always say, when's the best time to plant a tree? Well, the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago and then today. And I've used this story before. I heard this last year, and I thought it was so valuable. That this guy in India used to walk across this, this forest right now back 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago. And it was a desolate sandbar, desolate beach with nothing, no plants, no animals, desolate. Nothing would grow there. It was just vacant. And honestly, I hate to say it, but that's for many people when we get into as a real estate investor, when we come from a JOB or we start doing things, we often feel that way. It's like a desolate desert. All right. It takes a lot to get stuff growing in there, and it does. And he started planting one plant, one tree a day. And he fast forward 31 years now, and now it's this forest. It's got all sorts of animals. It's got water run through it. It's a very, very fertile ground. And that's the thing that you have to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking to everybody. I don't care if you close 0 deals or you closed 1,000 deals. You have to start planting those seeds. You have to realize that those things that you do marketing-wise will be around longer than just one day, or just, oh, they didn't say anything, I'm gonna take it down. And unfortunately, in this day and age of needing to get instant feedback, I gotta get a like, I gotta go viral. Nothing goes viral. The only thing that goes viral is if you do it over and over and over again. All right. So I challenge you. Yes, 2020 has been an increasingly hard year for many people. They've had to completely swap how they did their marketing, how to change things, how to find deals. It's been difficult for everybody involved. But the difference between those that have pivoted and done well and those that haven't found success is that they've embraced, I hate to say, embrace the suck, embrace the learning curve, embrace doing new things for business than what they were doing previously. And that's the biggest thing that you have to do. Everybody on here has to embrace doing something differently in the new year if you want to accomplish your goals. Yours truly included. And I have been tweaking things, been working on things, and we will constantly work on things. Okay. And we're all fighting out there to find more deals, raise more capital, grow your network. All right. Expand it. I was excited today. I exceeded 23,000 connections on LinkedIn. I'm excited about that. We just went over 4,000 connections, or subscribers on my YouTube channel. We all want to become a trusted source for our network and our audience and our tribe. Obviously, we all want to close more deals, make more money, right? And really leave a long-term legacy that people will think about us long term. And I'm obviously, you guys may know me. I'm big into movies. One of my favorite movies and one of my favorite characters is Rocky. When you think about how Rocky started off, he was a bum. He was banging, people's kneecaps to collect. He got this one chance, and Mick didn't even want to train him, so he had to do things a little bit outside the box. He had to go into the freezing cabinets and punch against the slabs on his own. He breaking ribs on these, hanging half cows. It kind of ugly, kind of gritty. Got to kind of figure it out. That's really how we all start off. We just got to figure it out by punching through things, and eventually, over time, the more we keep punching away and getting coached and trained by the right coaches, the right people to mentor us, you end up becoming much more polished. And at the end, he's standing there polished, champion, all right, world title holder, but nobody saw, nobody thinks about how he was just starting off, barely making a rent, not much. And many of us, that's us in business. So many analogies to that. And you think about Sylvester Stallone when he wrote Rocky, and he had offered for $300,000 to sell the movie script, and he was like, no, I want to be in the movie. I have to be in the movie. I have to act in it. There's so many things he could have done along the way to give it up, and now look back and now he's stuck with it. Nobody, who's this actor? Who's this writer? And he honed his skill. He talked about sitting in his house. Have you ever seen an interview with him sitting in his house? And I was part of the good fortune to see him be interviewed by Tony Robbins a few months ago, and him sharing how he just worked on his craft. He worked at it. And he got better at it and better at it and better at it. And a lot of us, that's the same thing with what we're doing to market our business. We don't focus on it a daily basis. It's like, oh, I'm going to get to it when I get to it. And I get it. It's overwhelming. There's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of distractions. Okay. And I'm here to tell you to narrow those distractions down to find something that works well for you and go from it. Because, guys and gals, we have an 8-second attention span. A goldfish has a 9-second attention span. If you think about looking at your phone and see how many times you check your phone during a TV, or you're on your phone, or you're just distracted, you have to learn that people get distracted. You have to do something different and stand out from the crowd. So many people are getting all upset about the social media stuff, and I'm going to leave Facebook for Parler. I'm going to go do that. That's fine. But it's where you're going to be marketing at, where your people are going to be. Are you going to be landing the fish in where you're going, or are you just joining the crowd of doing nothing? And we've all, I've never been afraid to shake it up a little bit. You guys know my personality. I want you to be a note investor. I don't mind slapping my face on there. Or the 50 Shades of Note marketing we did a couple years ago, or the whole Note Civil War we did with Luke Kwan was one of our biggest webinars on a Monday night with over 800 registrants. Or the stripped down marketing, taking my head and putting it on a body. I wish my trainer was that good. Or the WCN crew, or the Facebook Note Nation page where we put together and bring communities together. Note Night in America. We're honored that you guys are here, and this is it's the fourth. We're coming to the end of the 4th or 5th year that we've branded it Note Night in America. And of course, we've got the podcast, the Note Closer Show, that's exceeded 1 million downloads and over 645 episodes, I think is what I've recorded. Well, you have to realize those things don't happen overnight. Getting good at marketing, it didn't just flip a switch and it happened. I had some great coaches. People have mentored me. But also, when you look at Note Night in America, and then the Note Closer Show, 650 episodes, and celebrating our 4-year anniversary basically as a show, it just came from doing it over and over and over again. We're not talking a huge amount, an hour a night on Monday nights, or anywhere from 8 minutes to an hour on the podcast. There's a lot of things to do. Now, if you've been to my workshops before, you've heard me talk about the different marketing octagon. I don't want to scare this, but this is where you take basically one piece of content, an image of a property on Instagram, and then you share it to LinkedIn, or you jump on over on Facebook and share a post there, do a Facebook Live video, taking the video and getting it transcribed and turn it into a blog that you can then, or a video that you can put up to YouTube, and taking the blog and writing an article and sharing the article to Twitter, or sharing it to meetup groups, or sharing it to Pinterest, or more importantly, emailing out to your database. All right. There's a lot of different things that you do, and people are like, oh my God, Scott, it seems like a lot of work. Well, it can seem like a lot of work if you've never looked at it, but I'm not going to sit here and talk with you guys about every little thing tonight. That's not what we're here for. because I believe that if you really want to have the most impact in the next 12 months and make 2021, your audience, and I mean by this, your audience, investors, note buyers, note sellers, bankers, are not in all these spots. Now, yes, there's investors everywhere, and we all have a tribe of different layers to a tribe, but you don't need to go learn Pinterest. You don't need to go learn Instagram. You don't need to go spend time on Facebook and look at posting there, because a lot of times our audience, our ideal people we're looking for, aren't in the spots on these social media things. And while it's great to share it, at least build a little bit of an audience, you need to spend the time and focus on really where your best bang for your buck is going to be at. Okay. So my approach, and this is what I'm sharing with you guys. Yes, we shared a lot of spots, but I want to share my approach for how I dominate my niche. I think you guys would agree when it comes to marketing, we dominate. When I've had my peers, or I guess you could say my competitors, come to me and ask me if I would be willing to market for them, that says a lot. Okay. And when you start seeing competitors starting to replicate what we do, I have to kind of chuckle a little bit, because imitation is the purest form of flattery. They like it enough that what we're doing that they're going to go out and start doing it. Okay. So my approach is I approach each day with a marketing first mindset. When I rolled out of bed this morning and I was like a little like groggy, cold outside, cold in the house, a little bit extra blanket on, but you're turning the heat on, but it was like, okay, what am I going to focus on? What am I marketing? What's on my calendar this week and next week through December, with it being the last day of November? What is my day? What do I need to be marketing first? Not waiting until the end of the day to get to marketing. I approach each day with a very big thing. What am I marketing? I have Note Night in America tonight. Even though I didn't know what the heck I was going to talk about till about 11 o'clock today, I had a couple ideas until I settled on this. But I still approached. I recorded a podcast episode. I was interviewed on another podcast today. Okay. Now I also have an assistant, a virtual assistant, who's working 24 hours. Not 24 hours a week, about 20 hours a week on different things that I give her to go do. So she takes some of the things that we focus on a daily basis here, and then she applies them by sharing them across different parts. If you want to make six figures as a real estate investor and as a marketer and things like that, you got to hire an assistant. You can't do them all. All right. Your best value of your time is not doing it all. You need to delegate it to somebody else. So she posts to my social networks with my stuff and the images on buffer.com. She finds me speaking gigs or podcasting guesting opportunities via listing notes or meetup groups on different things for our webinars. She does that. She creates a lot of my images in canva.com. Some of my thumbnails you see, I don't spend a lot of time as much as I used to in Canva, because she's going out there and making me look good. Okay. And my marketing really does three core things. And that's the biggest thing, these three, is it expands my network and reach in the areas that I want to focus on. It also helps me find deals, as I get referrals from a lot of investors. I also get referrals from banks with our marketing on LinkedIn. And it also helps me raise capital, because we're getting the word out in what we're doing. And not everybody that's on here is in my database. And I have a variety of people in my database. Some people I market to for the whole thing. Other things I only do specific niches. And that's how everybody's list should be. You all have a different tribe, different tribes at any given time. All right. But I dominate my niche. I think we can agree to that. It's hard not to come across me if you're in the note space. Okay. We're proud of that. We've worked hard, and we will continue to work hard in the next year. But I've had some really good people. I've also been very coachable along the way. And I don't spend a lot of time. Like, I don't spend time on Pinterest. I don't spend that much time on Instagram besides auto posts, because I don't find those being active areas. I really don't spend a lot of time on my personal Facebook page, or Facebook for the most part, because it just doesn't help when you only see a little bit of your audience seeing your posts. And how we agree Facebook really will limit who you're seeing. I don't really spend a lot of money on Google ads or Facebook ads either, just because it's not effective for what we're trying to do. So where should I, or we, if you guys are on there, where should I focus if you're watching tonight? Now, for those of you that are on here, obviously email marketing, you still have to have a database. Even though that's old, it is still an effective use of your marketing. If you're not sending an email blast out to your database at least once a week, you're losing out. That's a fact. If you're not sending out once a week, you are falling behind, and your email list is growing stale, and you're becoming less relevant to your list every day. Okay. Whether it's an email list you've got, a business card stack, people you've met at an networking club, whatever, you got to be emailing out to your database. Okay. Video. I know this is going to scare a lot of you, but video is one of the most powerful tools that we see taking place. And it was part of what led me to do what I started doing with the podcast and other things a few years ago. Was by Kevin Shapiro from the Shark Tank. Hear him speak in Las Vegas at an event that I was attending with Gary Vaynerchuk and a few others, talking about how video is the wave. You have to embrace it in your marketing. Otherwise, people are just going to keep scrolling right past you. And I guarantee you that's the case. If you look at what you stop and watch, it's video, it's images, it's something to get your attention. It is not just text anymore like it would be. Okay. LinkedIn, hottest social media platform for us as real estate investors. Okay. This is where the people with the money and the deals are hanging out. All right. This is where you need to connect with them. Not Facebook, not TikTok. I mean, if you want to pop and lock, I'm sure Bill Griesmeyer could do a nice dance for us on here. Hey, Bill, how's it going? You know, you ain't got to shake your booty. You ain't got to learn how to twerk. Your idea is using LinkedIn to connect with the right people, the people that have capital. And this is where your CEOs, your CFOs, your people that are $1 million plus, they spend their time on LinkedIn networking and really doing some great stuff on there and paying attention to what's going on. Okay. Bill Griesmeyer says, MC Hammer ain't got nothing on me. You know what? Let's see in your hammer pants. Don't hurt us, Hammer. Okay, Mr. Bill? That might be worth the video. And Bill, you've done a great job when you embrace video in the past with what you're doing. It's always worked well. Oh my gosh. You've had a couple great videos. The Twilight Zone has been great. You know, some of the things you've done in the past, but LinkedIn is really where it's at. And it's not me saying this. This is where you see things. The one thing I think LinkedIn is falling on, and I'll cover that in a second, where I think they're kind of falling short on. The fourth thing is, honestly, podcasting. Now, I'm not telling you guys to go start a podcast. That is not what I'm telling you to do. Now, some of you maybe should, and some of the others, there's the opportunity of appearing on podcasts as a guest and leveraging those audiences. If you can't travel and you can't network, you can't speak, those could be some things that you need to talk about. All right. And then events, some events in this crazy virtual world. You might need to be looking to start some sort of events on a regular basis. And I'll talk about nothing difficult, nothing complicated, nothing really expensive. All right. Let's first talk about email marketing. You have to get something, some sort of email service provider, a CRM tool. Is still something that you're sending out a regular drip campaign. A drip campaigns mean you're sending out once a week, once a month, once a day. I think ideally once a week is usually the best for you, sending out on a Sunday night or a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Okay. Something you can send out on a regular basis. Weekly emails to your contacts, to your investors of what you got going on. And you got to think about this. People always worry about, what the heck am I going to say? Well, only about 20 to 30% of your database is actually going to open your email. And it's not hard to figure out what you would say on a weekly basis. I'll cover that in just a second. But email, you use it on a weekly basis and you're sending out, it still has a 4,400% return on investment to your database. Think about this. If it costs you $75 a month to send an email out to your database, and you send one email out a week, but you end up getting one investor at 50 grand to respond to fund a deal, or you got your asset manager sending you a list and you close on one deal, come on. And I see so many investors try to go snitchy. They try to like, well, no, I'm not going to pay. I'm going to try to use a free MailChimp account. I'm going to upload contacts and then I'm going to remove contacts. And I'm like, if you're going to do that, would you really want to do that? I'm going to put the top, you would buy a new car and put nice tires on and then take the tires off and put crappy tires on. No, you wouldn't do that. You need to be using it on a weekly basis. Now you can use MailChimp or Keep or Infusionsoft, a little bit more expensive, Aweber. Just pick one and use it. MailChimp is pretty much the easiest one. Sorry if you're having trouble with it. You got to spend time on it, okay? And here's the biggest thing to talk about. You don't have to write a huge, long email. It could be very simple. Talk about case studies, past or present, yours or somebody else's deals, okay? New deals you're working on, okay? I'm looking at a tape of assets. I'm looking at a performing note, a non-performing note. Just sharing your journey. Holidays. Every month has a holiday to talk about, okay? Or if there's something going on in the industry, or there's a news article that comes out that's important to your database on DS News or Housing Wire. One of the best ways to do that is just sharing what the content is going out. Brian Ellis out of Atlanta, one of the best private money capital raisers out there for years, had an email that went out on Friday with 4 articles that he pulled throughout the week. He wrote a little paragraph what he thought about each one and then shared it. And it was important to real estate investors and other people in his database. And he sent that out and he grew that database to 100,000. So now if he needs to raise capital, he can raise millions of dollars for projects really with an email blast and a video talk about the project or invite them to a webinar, okay? But that's the biggest thing is sending it out on a regular basis, weekly basis to your database and just communicating what's going on, sharing your journey, sharing your articles, sharing deals, case flow. We've all got deals, everybody. Everybody you meet on a business card, at networking, virtual network, whatever it might be, taking that information and putting in your database is one of the most valuable things you can do. Right now, adding video. Video is a second phase that everybody needs to be doing if you really want to be long-term with this. And you could do a Facebook Live, pretty easy to do. It's free to do straight from your phone, okay? Doesn't cost anything, it's free. One of the best things that we did for the podcast was do 149 Facebook Lives before we launched it to a traditional podcast. This built an audience for us, okay? This built an audience pretty fast for us because we started having, in the first year, we had over 150,000 views on our Facebook Lives. It built an audience. It started off with 2 or 3 or 4. Now, Facebook Live videos are good for about 24 to 48 hours. Really don't get much longer than that because you get so bogged down and only about 10% of your audience is going to see it. But if you have groups or you're part of groups or you've got a business page, you can market to those groups. You can market to your list. If you got a business page, you can upload your database, your email, and send an email blast out to them. Send a post and add to them, or create a lookalike audience to the list that you upload. That's a very valuable thing. It's one thing about Facebook that's really valuable, okay? As I said before, video on Facebook has about a 24 to 48 hour life cycle. You're gonna see somewhere between 1 to 5% view rate based on your connections and how people are interactive or not, okay? Now, YouTube is really the biggest tool here. It's also free. If you got a Gmail account, you've got a YouTube channel, okay? So you guys have embraced video and done some really good things to get beyond that first 100 subscribers to have a customized link. Now you can take your Facebook Live video and download it and then upload it to YouTube so it stays around longer. The nice thing about YouTube is the second largest search engine owned by the #1 search engine. And then when you upload a video and you have it go public, YouTube is going to go out and start searching for eyeballs for you. They're going to look for people based on the keywords, your title, your description, the tags in the video. It is 24/7, 365 days a week advertising. And we consistently see about 6,000 views on my YouTube channel on a monthly basis. That's somewhere around 200 to 500 views a day. All right. This month, we've already hit 6,500 views for the month. We average about, people average about 10 to 15 minutes on my channel. We average 3 to 4 subscribers per day subscribing to my channel. That's how we got to 4,000 in roughly 2 years. You have to realize you put a video up, it's going to try to put video in front of the people, the right people to see. And that, when you know how that works and the keywords and your channel tags and stuff like that, it is one of the beautiful things. And I love uploading my Facebook videos. I'll upload tonight. We'll go live on YouTube tomorrow for everybody. I'll replay it. We'll do case studies. Is one of the most powerful videos for you guys to post previous, before and after. You could record a short little video and go to webinar or Zoom and not make it go live and practice and then upload it there as well. But what does really well is your 2 to 5 minute videos. They do really well with small call to actions. Hey, go to my website or opt into my hot list or join my investor list or text notes to 474747 to get on my list. 2 to 5 minute videos. It falls in line if you're using the right keyword terms and descriptions of what you're really wanting to use to attract the right audience. It's going to put you in front of the right people out there that are searching on YouTube. All right. One of the easiest things to start off your video series is finding a website that has a bunch of frequently asked questions, FAQs. And that could be your first round of 20, 30, 40 videos of what FAQ stands for. Those are great questions or hot topics in the market. As always, previous or current deals you're working on always do well as case study videos. Hey, I've got a non-performing note, and here's what happened. Or I'm looking at a note here in Ohio, Columbus, and this is what I'm seeing in the due diligence side of things. Now, yes, you can get a monetized channel. YouTube can pay you $100 a month or something like that off of things, or you can run ads. It's fine. But for us, we just run organic traffic on YouTube, and it does really well. Now, are you going to have 6,500 views in your first month? No. You want to use a tool like TubeBuddy is a really good tool to use, especially if you're serious about it. You can see how you compare to other people's channels. And we'll also, when you upload a video, it will give you some keywords and terms based on what your title is that you see that are ranking well. Answer the Public is another tool that you can use to see when you type in a question, it'll give you all sorts of things and comments that can be asked about that topic to help you find questions and other things as well. So some people will talk about, oh, I like to use Vimeo because I want to keep my videos private. That's fine, but starting off with, just start sharing. We're here as you guys are starting off initially. Hey, just share to YouTube. It's the best thing initially. As you start growing your audience, there are some other places you can go. I have a Vimeo channel as well, but for most of you guys, you need to get the word out on what you're doing right now. And that's going to be sharing either Facebook Lives or doing YouTube video. And this is free, doesn't cost much, doesn't take hardly at all to start figuring this stuff out. If we're seeing Wayne Brinstein doing video on here, and Wayne, I think you're on here tonight. Good to see you, bud. Wayne's doing a great job with his video. You all can do the video as well. All right. All can do this. It's not difficult, just sharing it, but making sure you have a good description, good tags in the video, and even setting your channel up for some specific keywords as well too. Okay. Any questions about adding video before we move on to the third thing? And we talked about email, we talked about video. You may need to hire a VA to help you out with your email blasts. It might make sense to have somebody log in and write your emails for you initially. You sit down and talk with them, him or her, and come up with a content posting schedule. I know quite a few students of ours that have set that up, either with JD Bates or they got a VA that logs into their account and creates that content for them. Okay? Same thing with video. What am I going to talk about? Just do a brain dump. If an idea, you have a question or somebody asks a question or you see FAQs, those are great videos to start off with. Those are often some of the best things that help drive engagement and seeing videos pop up or seeing views pop up on your channel. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need to have 1,000 or 20,000 views. Our average videos see somewhere between 100 and 500 views in the first, roughly 3 to 4 months. And at the end of the year, we usually will see somewhere between 500 and 1,000 views regularly. So that's the thing to keep in mind. I got about 2,000 videos out there, ladies and gentlemen, on YouTube. A lot of it's classes, a lot of other things, but the views keep coming, ladies and gentlemen. And you got to realize it's 24/7, 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and 365 days a year advertising for you. And when are people on YouTube? Late at night and other things searching questions. So if it's a question you're going to type, make a video about that question. All right. And it's free. YouTube doesn't cost you anything. Facebook Live doesn't cost you anything. All right. Important. Now, LinkedIn is essential. I can't tell you, it is so essential for what we're doing as note investors and real estate investors, ladies and gentlemen. Forget the Facebook groups. Forget your Facebook posts. Too many people asking you what type of vegetable you would be. Or too many people complaining about who is winning the election or who won the election or who got chewed out of who, or they hate other people out there because you voted for Trump, or you hate people because you voted for Biden. Just a toxic atmosphere. I don't think Facebook's going to be around in the next 24 months. It's just becoming too ugly an area, and I try to avoid that for the most part, except Note Nation and a few other things we post there. But I don't spend a lot of time looking at negative. Somebody's negative online, usually I've unfriended or blocked them, okay? But LinkedIn is the professional side of it. And here's the big thing. If you've got short videos, your videos, your 10-minute or less case studies, your emails, your articles as content, that all works really well on LinkedIn. Pretty easy to connect with the right type of people. You could literally go to LinkedIn right now and type in real estate investors or note investors or special asset managers or chief credit risk officers and find the right people to be a part of it, okay? And if you do this on a regular basis, connecting, you can have a free account too. Connect with your ideal audience, investors, groups, if they fall in a specific niche. Great place to start building your database a little bit. We're not talking 5 hours a day. We're talking 20, 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn, okay? Short video, because LinkedIn will only allow video of 10 minutes or less unless you've got LinkedIn Live, and who knows how the heck you get approved for that. But that does really well. People like the engagement. They like what you see. It's something that's in their face that's moving. They'll watch it. All right. It does videos, really does well on LinkedIn. There are some large LinkedIn groups, very large, 500,000 people in some of these investment groups out there. You don't need a lot of people when you post something in these groups for people to comment, people be a part of it, adding value. The same things you talk about in your emails we talked about, you can also talk about on LinkedIn. Talk about them on video. You see what we're saying here? Hopefully you're starting to see a bit of a trend. The same thing you've used once, you can replicate it or tweak it just a little bit to make it work for the platforms, okay? We also use LinkedIn on a regular basis for deal flow. You guys know that. We talk about reaching out banks and asset managers. You've seen me do this on our calling banks thing, okay? We use octopuscrm.io. It's a Chrome plugin. I pay 21 bucks a month for it. It basically, every time I get up in the morning before I get started, I click on LinkedIn. I click on the Chrome, the octopus little icon, it pulls up, and I start sending out 100 invites. And it's all set up because I've customized it. So it does it after about 100. Says, okay, too many requests sent out for the day. Okay, we'll wait till tomorrow. And we'll send it out. Plus LinkedIn, you can also, if you've got a database, ladies and gentlemen, an email list, you can upload that into LinkedIn, and LinkedIn can go out and find those people to connect with them as well. Okay. I've grown my LinkedIn from 6,000 to 23,000 people in 3 years, right at 3 years. So you see in the last 3 years, we've gone, I doubled it, the first year from 6 to 12 and added 11,000 people in the last year. So it basically comes down to 50 to 100 connections sent out on a daily basis. About 20-30% of them will connect with me immediately. I give everybody about 3 to 4 months, and then I'll go back. If they haven't looked at their LinkedIn profile in 3 months, I start uninviting them, unconnecting with them. It's a process, but it still bears so much value. When you see you're getting 50, 100, 200, 300 views on your posts, that's engagement. That's adding value to your tribe, adding value to your audience. And most of it is me replicating by repeating or reposting, or my VA posting on a regular basis to buffer that automatically shares it, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, images, case studies, whatever, all across the board. All right, now podcasting. All right. Podcasting is, there's 26 million Americans. Oh, sorry, more than that. Sorry. 26% of Americans listen to at least 5 to 7 podcasts on a weekly basis. Okay. There's a lot of large syndicators, a lot of larger real estate companies seeing the value of starting a podcast, because when you look at Facebook Live, people will absorb about 1 to 5% of what you're posting on Facebook. On YouTube, they'll absorb about 11%. On podcasts, people listen to 86% of the content. They're literally absorbing 86% of what you're saying, whether you have your own podcast or you're guesting on some of people's podcasts, okay? And they provide loyal listeners. They have a very loyal listeners and audience base. We, this month, I looked at today, November, I think we'll have right about 15,000 downloads for the month. November, December are a little slow, especially with the holidays. But you think about this. If I upload 10 episodes and I get 15,000 downloads, that's an average of 1,500 listeners per hour or per episode. That's pretty good. All right. A lot of people will do a couple episodes and they won't, they worry about only having 100 people. I'm happy if I get one new person listening to a show. All right. I had 10 people respond today in some sort of fashion, whether it's a podcast post, an email, a YouTube video, something they saw dealing with my podcast, or they heard me on somebody's podcast, is one of the most powerful tools that you have. Now, like I said, 26% of Americans listen to 5 to 7 podcasts weekly. 86% listen absorption rate. I just talked about that, okay? And I reuse my Facebook videos, or I reuse my YouTube videos as podcast episodes. Now, one of the things that we use, I don't do all the editing myself. If you're going to do a podcast, try to be able to realize it's going to be a little bit of investment for you. You can do a lot of stuff, but your time is better spent doing other things. Okay. So I outsource my production. I got a couple sponsors that pay for my outsource my production, and we use them to market out there as well. Cause I use what all that they're doing, all that they're creating, episodes, blogs, infographics, that goes what the production company is going into feeding when I give to my VA and when I post on LinkedIn, when I post on So one thing goes 4 or 5 spots. Okay. Now, if you don't want to start, I've got buddies that are just they just look to get speaking gigs on podcasts. That's a different animal. But if you think about this, every time you guest, there's a lot of podcasts out there. There's 1,001 as of today. I looked 1,001 real estate investing podcasts out there. I just looked earlier today on that are in existence, that have stuff out there. Now, I didn't look at how many of them have done episodes in the last 90 days, last 6 months. But think about that. That's a potential 1,000 plus audiences, whether it's 10 people or 100,000 people for you to be on. And I know many of you guys love networking. You like going to your real estate clubs, your meetup groups, your expos, and trying to speak and trying to network with audience. That's the way I look at podcasting. It's a much more effective audience for me to spend time actually being on 2 or 3 podcasts in 2 to 3 days versus flying out and speaking to 50 people or 100 people. When you look at the cost, and if you know how to use CTAs, call to actions, and using some of the things in your presentation and what you're talking about, I don't share the same thing on a regular basis at all. I have a couple different things I do, but I might guest on podcasts at least 2 to 3 times a week, if not more, because it's a database. It's an audience that I'm now in front of. And it has become one of our most powerful things, besides me having the podcast, but also me guesting other people's podcasts to be a part of that. Okay. I prefer at least 4 or more guest podcast spots a week. But you guys, look, there's so many opportunities out there. If you know how to talk about something, or if you talk about case studies, there's deals out there. Hey, what's your best deal? Or talk about notes, or your biggest flop, or your worst investment, or your best investment, or business and entrepreneurship, systems. When you start adding in entrepreneurship and business podcasts and marketing podcasts and other things that you're doing in your business on a day, or your side hustle podcasts, there's a whole lot more opportunity for you to share about what you're doing. And I kind of throw this like you're being called into the front of the room and you're speaking in front of your meetup group, or you're appearing on a Zoom call with somebody in front of their audience. It's the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. And all of you are capable of doing this, talking about what we're going through. No matter what there's a million different podcasts out there. And we leverage, like I said, real estate, investing, business, entrepreneurship, and marketing are basically the 5 kind of niches that I focus on, because that attracts people into my right type of funnel. They go to my website, they check out my podcast, or they send me a message and they connect with me online. I'll give them away a book or a list or something like that. You guys are all capable of doing that. Not hard to do, okay? Not hard to do at all. Target your real estate, your business, your entrepreneurship shows. You're all capable of doing things. There's so many different niches out there. And most of it's done via Zoom. Some of it's done via the phone, but most of it's done via Zoom and the internet. Not difficult to do. 30 minutes to an hour of talking, having a conversation back and forth with somebody, and then it goes in front of their audience. Come on. That's awesome. It's much better than the radio, because the radio is come and gone, but it's that podcasting that stays around, and you'll hear people over a month and 90 days and track that down. And that's one of the things that you want to do. Is I always ask people if they reach out to, hey, I heard you on such and such podcast. Awesome. I know it works because I see it done, ladies and gentlemen. I heard you on somebody else's podcast. I heard you on somebody else's podcast. Great. And some people are like cringing, like, Scott, why are you telling us to do this? Aren't you creating competition? I don't believe so, because only about 1% of you are going to do anything. And that 1% actually is going to make it a good thing. It adds variety. I still dominate my niche. You're not competing against me, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not competing against you. That's not the way I look at it. I look at it, there's plenty of people. Only 26% of Americans listen to podcasts. This is why we talk about being on there, but also leveraging video, because the other 74% do spend time on video, but they not be listening to a podcast, okay? Does not have to be difficult. You could use a thing like Listen Notes, or just going straight to iTunes and doing a search for real estate investing and seeing what's being around. Some of the people that some of the things I'll do, I'll search people's name and see what podcasts that they've been on and reach out to those podcasts as well. All right. Now, another thing, with it being like a crazy year that it's been in 2020, I think you have to look at doing some sort of event. Now, I don't mean this make difficult or complex. I'm talking about very simple. When I first started off and I was getting serious about what I was doing, I would sponsor a summit, or I would pay, $2,000 to $5,000 to have a booth at an expo, or noteworthy, or I can't, Secret Knock. I can't tell you the thousands of dollars we spend sponsorship. Okay. At REI Expo, Think Realty, Noteworthy, Distressed Mortgage Expo. I could go on and on and on about how much money we spent. Hundreds of thousands of dollars sponsoring events. Okay. And that all valuable, all paid, all very valuable if you know how to use it. But there's also a big need. We all know that REI clubs are also a great place to speak at, or your meetup groups. And a lot of real estate clubs, a lot of meetups have not met or shut down and not embraced the online aspect of things because of what's going on with the corona. And if corona is going to win out, you guys have to realize and leverage. This is the biggest pivot for a lot of real estate investors, is taking that weekly, that monthly networking online and offering a value, offering a place for people to connect, just to say hi and have some sort of dopamine level. And you see this with people that are networking a lot online, they're doing well. Those people that don't have that interaction, that human interaction, struggle. Don't get me wrong. We all want hugs. I all want to high five some of my best friends, but I miss them, but I can't. And thank God for Zoom. Aaron Young, Laughlin Associates, one of my best friends, and him and Michelle are very dear friends of Steph and me. And we spent probably over an hour last week, hour and a half, just getting a chance to visit with him because I ain't seen him in forever. And networking and talking about things. And that's the same way, guys. If you have a local group of investors networking, embrace it. Embrace the suck, okay? You do a regular webinar like Note Night in America. It doesn't have to be one way. It could be Zoom. I could bring people on, or you could do a meetup group. Same thing, an hour, 2 hours, and doing it virtually the same night, same time frame that you do it, okay? 30 to 60 minutes. It doesn't have to be too long. Maybe 90 minutes if it's a meetup group. You're having people interact, okay? We've done a great job. Note Night in America has become one of our best marketing tactics, week in, week out. Even with everything else we do, I still add about 20% new people each week to my database. From posting a couple spots, from emailing out, from posting to LinkedIn, posting it to Facebook, I just sharing 1 or 2 posts. I still get 20 to 30 new people on the call. They register. Yes, you want to require people to register, okay? You might want to do a monthly lunch and learn. Maybe you guys have been part of our calling banks things that we've done for 4 hours each month. We've done the lunch and learn is some things I've done in the past for 30 to 60 minutes about case studies. That's a great opportunity in your database. Hey, here's lunch and learn, big untapped audience around lunchtime. Okay. When we get 75, 100 people on a calling bank thing, that's a very effective tool for people to hear and learn and ask questions, be a part of it. The most important thing, if you're going to do something, do it on a regular basis. Monday nights, like I say, Desi Arnaz, one of our students, does a webinar on note investing at 6 p.m. He basically runs from 6 to 7. He's out in the Pacific. He does it from 4 to 5 o'clock Pacific Coast time. Does a great job just talking about notes, asking questions, and doing a great job. You do a virtual event. Maybe you bring 3 to 4 people together for a one-day lunch and learn or a one-day summit. You could bring your vendors on. This is one of the things that we do with Note Weekend. It's pretty easy. Invite your peers. See if they'll promote for you. Create yourself like one of the best things I've seen used is a Dream 100. 100 people that you would love to have on your event or your podcast or your videos. And draft off their audience. Draft off their groups. Draft off their pages. Okay? It's the fastest way to grow the list is just reaching out to people. And it doesn't take a lot. Yes, Zoom has a free version. I pay Zoom each month. But ladies and gentlemen, it's pretty easy just to do a live stream. It's pretty easy to put people together. It doesn't take a lot of work. You just got to mess around a little bit. But if you're wanting to grow a list, and we all want to grow a bigger list, you've got access to all the free things that you need, okay? But because that you're interviewing people and talking with vendors and talking with experts, you become the expert that's not afraid to reach out to the experts. That's what I started doing when I was doing the Monday Note, and then it evolved into Note Night in America. Over the last 10 years, that's been the most powerful tools I can tell you, is being on a regular basis. Yeah, do I always make Monday night? Not always. We'll skip here and there, but being consistent. And look at it this way, ladies and gentlemen, basically, when I looked at the registration list, there was 1,050 people who have registered for Note Night in America this year. And I'll start it over the first of the year. And we'll see how many new people come on my list. They join it, they don't. People unsubscribe. That's fine. What you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, you have to put yourself out there. I'm not talking about you got to do some big summit, but do something on a regular basis to your tribe, to your meetup group, whatever it might be, you can do it. All right. Nothing difficult about it at all. Okay. And Zoom is pretty damn affordable for some of the basic things you can do. And record it, and it becomes a video, it becomes a podcast episode. It can become a email you send out with a link to it. Hey, did you miss it? Check it out. That's one of the things that we'll do tomorrow morning. Send an email. Hey, if you missed Note Night in America, here's the replay. So in recap, those are really the 5 things that kind of all link into one. Obviously, the one thing that you should all be doing is a weekly email to your warm market. This takes about 30 minutes to do once you've got your first template set up. Okay. 30 minutes. Okay. Weekly videos to YouTube and Facebook. And weekly, this doesn't have to be too long. We're talking roughly about 3 hours of time frame if you're going to take an hour and you're doing it 3 times a week. Okay. Not too difficult at all. All right. Some of you guys will hit the delete button a couple times. Look, I'm taking 3 hours because I think that's a little long, but 3 hours roughly on a weekly video basically get the biggest bang for that. If you want to be a guest on podcast, you can reach out and be a guest 3 to 5 hours. That's if you're going to be on 3 shows at 3 hours and take 30 minutes of research. Send an email, send an invite. You might need to put together what's called the media one sheet talking about what you like to talk about. But everybody that's on here can talk about real estate, their past, their present, their future. All right, everybody. You post daily on LinkedIn and connect with ideal niches. That's 30 minutes a day. Not too difficult to do at all, okay? You look to speak at different real estate investment clubs or meetup groups monthly. This takes roughly about 4 hours for you to do if you're doing this on a monthly basis. Guys and gals, there's so many real estate investment clubs, not only in your market, but meetup.com. You can go on there and find them and reach out to them. Hey, who do you need? That's one of the big things that we do starting in October. Hey, are you looking for speakers for this next year for your groups? I don't mind doing virtual. I don't mind providing an hour of content or 45 minutes of content. Great way for you guys to get the word out on what you're doing. And or host your own event annually. It can be virtual, can be online. It's a whole lot easier to do these days than it ever used to be. All right. Doesn't have to be anything big. 4 people, an hour long, 2 hours long, whatever. I honestly think it's going to help you guys to do it. And this could be your meetup group I'm talking about, your local vendors together, talking about what's going on in the Columbus market, the Oklahoma City market, okay, the Michigan, the South Florida, wherever you guys are located, pretty easy to do. What I'm talking about is if you figure this all up on a weekly basis and figuring out, it's going to come down to average about 2 to 3 hours per day on marketing. And a little bit each day. Okay, a little bit each day. And honestly, once you start getting rock and rolling, it's gonna be a lot less than 30 minutes a day. But it starts off that if you can budget 30 minutes to an hour, 3 to 5 days out of the week, do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, take Friday off, spend an hour on Saturday and Sunday, your business will skyrocket in the next 90 days. You start putting things in place to talk about, okay? And one thing I want to throw out there is I do have a couple opportunities in December. What we're looking to do is a couple live episodes. I'm doing some live coaching with you guys out there interested, coming on and being on for 15 to 20 minutes, talk about where you're at in your business and where you want to go in 2021 and helping you kind of plan that out. And I'm looking to do a couple episodes. So I'm looking for 4, 8, 12 people that would be willing to come on for 15 to 20 minutes each and doing them in like back-to-back episodes. Or an hour filled with 3 to 4 people. So if you're interested, drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com. We'll talk about, doesn't matter wherever you're at. You could be advanced, you could be brand new. I'm looking for a good broad mix out there and have you be as part of our podcast episode. So questions, comments. Once again, not difficult. All of you are capable of doing these things, okay? Once again, a weekly email to your database. You all need to be doing that. Doing 1 to 2 to 3 little videos, short videos on YouTube about a topic or frequently asked question or something that you're struggling with. It's not hard to do. Be on a guest appearance at some point, 1 to twice a week, pretty easy to do. Posting daily to LinkedIn and connecting with your niche, reaching out to meetup groups, networking on their Facebook, not their Facebook groups, sorry, but the meetup message boards. You could connect with people all across the country. And that would be, if I had to start all over again with no list, that would be the first place I would go, would be Meetup and LinkedIn to build an audience, okay? And host your own 4-person event. Hey, we're going to talk about this, this, and this. Okay. Great way to do it. You're seeing a lot of virtual summits take place out there. Everybody and their dog seems to be doing a virtual summit as a way to pivot. Oh, how to pivot in the pivot. You don't need to pivot. Just talk about what you're doing. Talk about your local market. Bring on a title company, a realtor, hard money lender, all right, and a mortgage broker. Talk about what's going on in the market, the numbers and closings and things like that. That's be a really great, valuable thing for you to do in any market that you're out there. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns with you guys? We do have a couple of things that are upcoming. I wanted to just give a quick little shout out to you guys while you're thinking about that. This last weekend was obviously Black Friday sales. We do, if you haven't signed up for our virtual workshop in 2 weeks, we extended the 25% off sale through today. And so this on the December 11th through the 13th, okay, that's our next 3-day virtual note buying workshop. And we're still running a 25% off special. You don't have to do anything. If you just go to notebuyingfordummies.com, I'll take you straight to the checkout page. Discounts already figured in there, saves you about $150 off of that. Doesn't take away any bonuses. You get the replays of the previous event, the 300-page manual, and some other things for you to take a look at and get rock and rolling. But that's our final workshop of the year is December 11th, 12th, and 13th. That's just right about 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the great things, too, if you get signed up for that, for those that took advantage this weekend or take advantage tonight, we are going to do, again, this time around, the 4-week coaching. And that actually starts this Wednesday night. We'll be basically doing 4 weeks of coaching. If you're a WCN crew member, guess what? You can jump back into it. Not only retake the class at no additional cost for WCN crew membership, but go through the 4-week coaching again, where we'll spend 4 weeks, 2 weeks in front of the class, and then 2 weeks after the class. We're not meeting the week of Christmas, but this on a Wednesday night. And we'll be doing the 4-week coaching kicks off this Wednesday, helping people get some momentum going into the new year. All right. A lot of people loved this last time. It's a bonus for being a part of the workshop. Okay. So, or a WCN crew member again. So I know some of you guys are planning on being on there. Doug, you were part of it. Wayne, you were part of it last time. Great stuff. And looking forward to kicking it off again this Wednesday night for those that are interested. And then our first note weekend class is going to be in January. We're not doing one in December because we have the 3-day workshop, and I don't expect you guys to do anything the last 2 weeks of the year when it comes to classes. So still running a 50% off discount that ends tonight. All right. So if you haven't signed up for Note Weekend, you can get the 1-day class in January plus the replays, the one we just did, basically for $20, $24, $25 is half price, but that actually ends tonight. Okay. So take advantage of that. Sign up for one of the two, noteweekend.com or notebuyingfordummies.com, and take advantage of those discounts. But that's all I've got for you guys. Any questions, comments, concerns for anybody out there still hanging around? How many of you have thought about your marketing for next year? Or how many of you have started thinking about what you're going to implement a little bit more in 2021? I'd love to know if anybody wants to share their thoughts, what they're going to work on a little bit more here we're starting to do some things. Okay. I know, Wayne, you've embraced video. Let's see here. Who's else on here? We got a new coach student. Montrese is doing some great stuff with video. Derek's doing some great stuff with video. Not that hard, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they say. Realize, once they figured out how to hit the record button and the stop and how to use the video camera, it's a pretty easy thing, and they're getting some good hits off it. So I'd love to hear from you what you're focused on. Henry says, I'm considering implementing video. Henry, trust me, don't consider it. Start implementing it. The first videos are gonna suck. You're gonna screw up. We all have to get somewhere. Okay. My first round of videos, oh my God, were horrible. All right. Just get better. Just practice it. Practice makes perfect at it. And that's the only way you'll be able to get ahead is the reason I'm good at what I do now is because I've done it thousands and thousands of times. And I don't expect you to do thousands of videos. When you look back at the number of videos that I uploaded, and I look back at when we celebrated hitting 4,000 downloads, I averaged 19 videos a week. I'm sorry, not a week, sorry, a month. That's about one a day being uploaded. And of course, there's some lump sums where I did a bunch and others that were off, but one video, a little short video each day. What's going on in your life? What are you working on today? What are you excited about? It doesn't always have to be about notes. So I love it that you're looking at implementing that, Henry. Love for you to have you part of the class where we learn more about what we're doing as well. Okay. Kudos. Bill Griesmeyer, Brian, Jerry, John, anybody on here? Richard, anybody in here else want to share what they're going to be going? Steven, Terry, something they'll be working on in the new year. Okay, Henry, just drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com and I'll shoot you a link and we'll go from there. Thanks for volunteering. Do some hot seat coaching. Let's see who else is on here. So, Donald, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you and Vanessa doing a good job and working on some deals in South Carolina now, dressing up to get with a video. Good stuff. And Brian says, I'm just starting to look at, as a business and doing business loans and life insurance, would getting out there in the market be confusing? No. I mean, you can talk about what your full-time thing, just say it's your side hustle. Okay. This is your side hustle. All right. You don't obviously want to step on, if you're an insurance agent, there's things you can and can't do when it comes to that, but you have separate entities or separate playlists. Maybe you're not doing video for your insurance company. Okay. Or if you are for your business loans, maybe you are doing some short videos. You can have different playlists on YouTube. So, okay. That's the thing. Those things that we talked about tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the videos, the LinkedIn, email blast, being a podcast guest, it can help you in other avenues, not just in your real estate or note business. Those things will help you implement in whatever else you're working on. If you've got a full-time job or other things you're doing, they're all there to help you accelerate in a lot of things. Okay. Thanks for some great suggestions. You're welcome, Brian. Glad to hear it. All right, everybody. Well, hey, if that is it, we're going to wrap it up for this evening. Thank you so much for being on Note Night in America. Thanks for being again a part of it here. Terry just asked an important question. Can you have multiple LinkedIn profiles, one related to commercial real estate and the other one related to notes? No, I would not do that. I would just have two. It's like a business resume on LinkedIn. Have one talking about your commercial real estate and then the other one about a note investor. Not difficult at all. You see it done a lot of times. Okay. Don't create two LinkedIn profiles. That's not a helpful thing. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you again, once again, so much for coming on Note Night in America, being here, being interactive. Thank you for everybody that shared. And hopefully you all had a safe and thankful Thanksgiving week. It's hard to believe that December is here. And where is the year gone? It's flown by. Thank you. Thank you, COVID. Every day just flies by like it's crazy. So go out, take some action, everybody, and we'll see you all at the top. Thanks.